Welcome to It's the Economy. The most important topic today, the escalation of missile strikes between Israel and Iran, which has worsened hugely over the weekend. And there doesn't seem to be any end in sight to the war as of now. Casualties on the Iranian side seem to be higher, both in human and, more importantly, in economic terms as well, with Israel bombing South Pars, the world's largest gas field, and hitting a key processing unit. The only ray of hope, if one can call it that, is President Trump tweeting late on Sunday that, and I quote, Iran and Israel should make a deal and will make a deal. We will have peace soon between Israel and Iran. Many calls and meetings are now taking place. Well, to understand the triggers for this war and how and when it may end, I have with me Ambassador Navdeep Singh Suri, a retired diplomat who has served in India's diplomatic missions in Cairo, Damascus, Washington, London, among other countries. Ambassador, many thanks for joining us and giving us your time.
Pleasure to be with you, Latha.
Well, so if I can start by saying at the outset, after looking at the last 4 days' flow of news, does it look like we have a prolonged conflict on our hands?
I don't think so, because I frankly don't think that Iran can sustain a prolonged conflict, considering the rate at which its missile delivery capabilities, its energy facilities are being degraded. In a funny way, even though Israel is a small country, it's an unequal contest, because Israel is a technological superpower. It is the military superpower in the region, and it enjoys the unlimited backing of the Americans. Whereas Iranians, a lot of what they have put together is largely their homespun jugaad. And so I think there are limitations within which the Iranians will be operating. And I wouldn't be surprised in a couple of days' time, once Iran has had the psychological satisfaction or the moral satisfaction that they've landed a couple of blows, that people start looking at pathways out of the current situation.
Will it go to a point where the Israelis or even the Middle East looks for a change in the regime in Iran? Will that be the way this will end? Will it go that bad?
Hard to say at this point of time. Whatever chatter I am picking up, even Iranians who are disgruntled against the regime for very valid reasons, whether within Iran or outside Iran, seem to, at this point, feel that what Israel is doing is attacking Iran, not just the regime. And so people are kind of tending to get united behind the country rather than just the regime that they may not particularly like. So I think that's a question mark. There is no love lost for the Iranian regime in the Arab world, I must say, not just with Israel. They have been guilty of interfering quite blatantly in the affairs of neighboring countries, starting, of course, with Iraq, but then Syria and Lebanon and Bahrain, and the Saudis have their own angst. But I don't think we are at that regime's change moment yet, though nothing would please Netanyahu more than a regime change in Tehran.
Okay. Well, how seriously should we take the U.S. President's tweet that talks are happening and, peace will come, the war will end? Are you expecting a quick end, as in a couple of days?
Should we go by the past record of the president's tweets and and draw our conclusions from that? I think we've all learned that the Ukraine conflict wasn't solved in 24 hours. And he claims to have resolved India-Pakistan, and certainly he thought he would resolve the long festering issues of the Middle East. The reality is that these are very complex issues, and they need months and months of fine negotiations by experts to try and come to some kind of a resolution. So on your particular question, I'd take President Trump's tweets with a very large spoon of salt. I think, Latha, the larger issue, perhaps, for a channel like yours, is that if Iran is driven to a point of desperation, and it has in the past threatened that it could block the Strait of Hormuz. Then we really need to look at what the consequences could be, because those are, to my mind, that is the single biggest regional and global ramification that could emerge out of
No,
this.
actually, Ambassador, that was going to be my next question to you. Do you think Iran would threaten that and even actually execute that threat? Do things get that bad?
It is their extreme option. They've done it once before during the Iraq-Iran war. The consequences today could be much worse. Between the Saudis, the Kuwaitis, the Qataris, and the Emiratis, they ship about 21 million barrels a day out of the Strait of Hormuz. That's one third of global seabound oil supplies. So some analysts say that should Iran take that extreme step? And it is a doable step. When you look at the shipping channel that takes you through the Strait of Hormuz, that's barely 3 kilometers, not even 3 kilometers wide. So you can knock out a couple of tankers and effectively block the channel for a while. And that would really send shockwaves through the global system. I think it would also make us painfully aware that even today, after our strategic petroleum reserves in Visakhapatnam, in Mangalore, and Padur, our own oil reserves today, the strategic petroleum reserves, are barely 10 days requirement for us. So, that really is an extreme situation. And, I just hope that the Iranians are not pushed to a point where they feel that that's the only option left for them.
Okay, but, that's the side which the US also will take. I mean, even for the US, the rise in oil prices is anathema for the president. That was one of his big promises, that he will keep crude prices down. So clearly, they will work in that direction. But regardless, your base case now is that this will not be a prolonged conflict because Iran can't afford it. That is a very big consolation you're giving the market.
I think so. I think Iran's capacity to sustain a long distance conflict of this nature, given the technologies that today are available, the means that are available to Israel to keep degrading Iran's energy infrastructure, keep degrading its missile capabilities. And combined with the fact that Israel itself has a very robust anti-missile defense system. If you look at the hundreds of missiles that Iran has fired at Israel and see how many actually managed to penetrate its air defenses, it's a fairly small number. And Israel would probably feel that it can absorb that much of the pain. But I think for Iran, the situation continues to become more and more grave. And that's what I feel, that it would be hard beyond the next 3 or 4 days for Iran to be in a position where it can deliver major blows to Israel.
Okay.
And would probably, that's why I say that both sides will be looking for a pathway out at that point of time.
Okay.
I don't think, and the Israelis curiously have also acknowledged that they don't have the capacity to knock out Iran's nuclear capacity. They've struck Natanz, but they can't do very much about Fordo. It's not as if Israel will be able to claim victory that I've destroyed Iran's nuclear program.
That indeed is going to be my last question. Are there any compelling reasons why Israel also will want to just end? Was the whole idea just to give Iran a warning that they should not continue to help Hamas or any of the other outfits? Was it a limited attack even from Israel's point of view?
There should be a lasting, enduring lesson for Israel somewhere in all of this, that it's easier to start wars than to achieve objectives. I think Gaza is a stark reminder that after 20 months, Israel still hasn't been able to destroy Hamas. You can win battles on the battlefield, but whether you win the wars, I think, is the moot point here. And I don't think Israel achieves its objective of destroying Iran's nuclear program. That's why the 5+1 nuclear agreement was so important, which was done during the Obama
Yes.
government, that it put caps on Iran's nuclear program, which were verifiable. And then Trump comes in, Trump 1.0, and tears up the agreement and leaves the Iranians free to start increasing beyond those caps their enrichment program, and puts you in the situation that you are in today. So, there is a room for diplomacy to achieve objectives that you may not be able to achieve through war. And you've done the war, and you will again probably have to fall back on diplomacy to take you forward.
Yeah. Well, the key leaders are meeting in Canada for G7, and hopefully everyone will prevail on the US president to prevail upon Israel. Let's hope your guess will prevail, that on both sides there will be compelling reasons to restrict this conflict to fewer days rather than a prolonged war. At the moment, crude at $74, $75 is still manageable. Let's hope it doesn't go to a point where the Gulf of Hormuz is blocked and things are escalated beyond economic sustainability for many of us. Thank you very much, Ambassador, for joining us.
Thank you, Latha.
Okay, so that's the key point. Hopefully, both sides don't have a reason to prolong this conflict. That's it on this edition of Fix the Economy. After a break, Chartbusters.